Hey, what's up, coaches? Back episode 2 of Concept versus Coverage. This is a series we started where we are going to take a air raid concept and we are going to plug it in against a certain coverage and see what routes will be there, what routes won't be there, what might be there. So last episode we talked about mesh against cover 2. Today we're going to talk about probably the second staple concept in the air raid that's kind of lasted through all these stops these air raid coaches have had over the years that they are still running. So we're talking about Y cross today. So real quick, I'm going to have this against in a 2x2 set, a 3x1 set, and a 2x1 set, and we will show you how these routes pan out against a cover 2 defense. So again, this isn't something where I'm sitting here looking at a cover 2 and I'm just trying to beat it by drawing, I can draw a post and get to the middle of the field with anything, and that's going to beat a cover 2 just because it's a cover 2 beater. What we're looking at is if we call Y cross in a game, the defense drops into a cover 2, what's going to be there and what won't be there. All right, so real quick, and this can be run differently. There can be variations of it. This is the way that we found we like to run it. Our X has a must outside release. He's going to get to the numbers. He's going to stay on the numbers so that our quarterback has a little more grass to the sideline where he can hit him with that over the shoulder fade, and there's a little grass there. All right, so in this, we're going to go ahead and we are going to make that a yellow, and we're going to tag that as yellow because it's not definitely going to be there. You have a safety that could get over the top of this. The reason I have this is because a lot of times that hole shot in a cover 2 is going to be there. So if that X gets past that corner and this is our first read in the progression, the quarterback sees that, he can go ahead and throw it in the hole right there for that little peak hole shot. So we're going to put that as a yellow. Our second read is our H running a 3-step speed cut. Now, some people run this as a deeper out type route. We like the 3-step speed cut because it forces this backer to make his mind up quicker and open something up quicker. If you push up to him a little bit further, he can kind of hang around in this area, and he kind of takes away that hole that we have for our next route. So we like to make him make a decision quick. In this instance, a cover 2, this speed out will be running right into a cover 2 corner who's got a flat responsibility. So we're going to mark that as red. That is probably not going to be there. All right, then our third read is our Y, and he's taught on this that he's going to go under Sam, over Mike, and when he gets on top and stacks this Mike linebacker, his eyes are immediately going to go to this free safety. If this free safety is dropped back and he's up top, then he can bend it on right on top of this other backer, more of like a flat route towards the sideline. Now, if this free safety kind of sits in this area or is on the hash more, then that Y can now bend it up for what we like to call that pipe shot. So our quarterback's dropping back. He's reading 1, 2, 3. Our free safety, again, at this point in this progression, this basically comes to we're reading this free safety. If he takes that outside release go route away, then we know we're probably coming back to our Y cross. If he were to sit on the hash right here, then we've probably already thrown the ball to that X. So I'm going to go ahead and our Y cross, we're going to make that a green because that's what we're trying to hit. That's what we want to hit for big yards. And it should be there if run properly and if our Y reads that free safety. All right, our Z, his job is basically to keep this this strong safety out of the middle of the field. So he's going to attack him, and then he's going to come back and sit in this hole. And we're going to go ahead and mark that. I'll give that a yellow because it might come back to that, but very rarely would we ever get there. And then our F is our last kind of like our spacer, and all he's doing is just kind of getting this guy in this corner flat. He's just our flat presence on the backside. All right, so there we go. Y cross against a traditional, somewhat of a cover 2 defense. And again, there could be different guys that are dropping to get to these, but these are the areas of the field that should have a guy covering them. All right. So you got your H, could be that's a maybe. Peak shot, read the safety, could hit it in the hole. Your H, your speed out's probably not going to be there. And you'll see when we move on to other coverages while we run this speed out, because against a cover 3, that's going to be there 100% of the time. And then our Y cross, our guy's got the little option route right here when he stacks the mic. And then our Z's really is our next guy in that next open window. He's going to find an open window and try to occupy that safety. And then our F is our flat presence on the backside. So that's Y cross out of 2x2. All right, we'll move on to our next formation that we're running this out of, and which this one will go quick because now we're running this out of a 2-back set. The only difference is now your H is in the backfield. So the only difference is instead of a speed out from the slot, he's now running a little 3-yard flat shoot route to get to that same area. Because like we know in a lot of air raid concepts, we have to get a guy in a certain area of the field because everything matters, right? We're pushing and pulling guys out of certain areas to open other things up. And that's why this was created and that's why all of these routes need to be in this concept. So we're going to go with our must outside release again. With our X, we'll give that a yellow because we might hit that if it's there, but it should be covered if that free safety gets over the top, which is fine because we want to hit that cross behind him. That H again, he's not going to be open because he's running straight into a flat defender. Our Y, again, we're going to go ahead and make that green because that is what we want to hit, and that is what we're trying to open up. And again, this will work almost 100% of the time if this Y learns how to run this route full speed, stack the mic, and it might be a hole shot right here. He might bend it up the pipe for a big gain, depending on what this free safety is doing. Then our Z on our backside, he's attacking for that deep stop, trying to sit that strong safety in cement to keep him away from our Y cross. And then our F, again, he's going to run a swing on the backside, and that is our last progression just to keep that backside corner and try to influence that Sam backer a little bit. So Y cross against out of a 2x1 set, that's what it will look like. Really all you're doing is taking your H from a speed out, moving into the backfield. Now he's got to shoot. All right, and then our last route, or our last formation we're going to look at real quick is how this would look out of a 3x1. So trip, so we've got this drawn up in trips right. Again, the only difference now is now you've moved your H to the other side. He's the slot guy. You've moved your F to the left because now he has to take the responsibility to occupy that flat defender, and he's going to run the shoot. All right, so we're going to give this a yellow because that's another. And I even might give this – I might nod this one more towards the green because in a trip set, that free safety may be shaded a little bit over, and you may be able to high-low this corner with this route. All right, so if he's playing inside the hash or on the hash, however he's taught to defend a trip set or adjust to a trip set, that outside release X could be there a lot more out of this formation, more so than the other two we looked at. So again, our F is now running into that flat defender. He should not be there. Our Y is coming across, and we're going to go ahead and give him a green because that's what we're trying to hit. That's the name of the concept. That's what we want big yards from. And again, it's all about teaching that guy to read once he stacks that mic. And then our Z is really going to occupy. Now, we're lucky if we get to this side of the field and we have numbers over here because then we're in good shape. And then our H, we're probably going to give that a red because these guys are just trying to occupy these three defenders. All right, so that's what our Y cross would look like against a cover 2 out of 3x1. Again, in the air raid system, all these concepts are meant to push and pull guys out of areas. We're trying to open up windows. If one door shuts, another one should open wide up behind him, and it goes down the line. So just in theory, if this was taken away, then that means this was open. If this was taken away because the safety came to the middle of the field from here, then now this will be open, and so on and so forth. So it just goes back, back, back until eventually something is open. So that's why these were created. That's the thought process behind these concepts. Everything has a purpose. Even if you know you're not getting the ball, your receiver has to know, like that Z on the backside knows he's probably not getting the ball, but he's very vital to the success of this play because he has to occupy this safety. So he can't take a play off. He has to run at full speed at that guy, make that safety commit to him. All right, guys, so that's episode 2, concept versus coverage. We just took Y cross, looked at it out of 3 different formations against a cover 2 defense, and probably what should be open, what might be open, which routes are just spacers and influencers in those routes. All right, guys, I hope you like that. I hope that helps a lot. If you're an air raid guy, if you're not an air raid guy looking to implement some concepts, I would highly recommend Y cross. It's one of those concepts that has withstood the test of time because it's so hard to defend. The defense can't take everything away from you, so something will be there if you rep it and you run it right. All right, guys, that was concept versus coverage, Y cross versus cover 2. If you like it, we'll keep on going down the line. We'll probably do shallow cross next versus cover 2, and then we'll move on to cover 3 and go through all our routes again. All right, guys, take care.